The evening sun spilled golden light through tall trees, washing the park in a calm glow. Children's laughter drifted from the swings, mixing with the rustle of leaves. On a weathered wooden bench sat David Kareem, late 40s, dressed simply in dark jeans and a clean polo shirt. To anyone passing by, he looked ordinary, a man enjoying the quiet. But David's eyes told a deeper story. They held resilience, carved by years of struggle and wisdom that silence could not hide. In his hand, he turned a bracelet, a small, worn band given to him by his daughter. To others, it was just jewelry. To him, it was a promise, a reminder that no matter how heavy the world became, love would anchor him. His mother's words echoed in his heart, steady and unshaken. Strength isn't in how loud you shout, but in how calmly you stand. The weight of society pressed on him daily. Prejudice, responsibility, unspoken battles, they all lived with him. But instead of breaking him, they sharpened his resolve. He breathed deeply, drawing patience from his loved ones, from the people who believed in him. To the world, David was just another man on a park bench. But the world was about to be reminded that appearances deceive. From across the park, Karen Whitfield walked briskly, her heels striking the pavement in sharp rhythm. Sunglasses framed her pale face, her lips curled into a smirk as her fingers danced across her phone screen. The leash in her other hand tugged at her grip, but she barely noticed. Her dog, a restless terrier named Max, strained forward with excitement. Karen's mind was elsewhere, lost in the comfort of familiar voices and the superiority her circles whispered into her ears. To her, respect was never universal. It was a privilege she believed she could choose to give, and to those she saw as beneath her, it was something to withhold. Max broke free from her inattentive hold, scampering across the grass. Tail wagging, the little terrier bounded toward the bench, stopping at David's shoes. The man looked down and smiled, his expression softening. "Hey, little one, you remind me of my daughter's puppy," he said, bending slightly to offer his hand. Max responded with joy, circling David's legs, pawing gently at his knee. For that brief moment, the world seemed balanced, kindness meeting innocence. Then Karen's head lifted, her smirk froze, her eyes locked on the scene. In an instant, her steps quickened, her face hardened. She stormed forward, yanking Max's leash so abruptly that the dog whimpered. Her voice cut through the calm like a blade. "What gives you the right to touch my dog with your dirty hands?" The park stilled. Conversations halted. Eyes turned. David's jaw tightened, but he didn't rise from the bench. His hand fell back to his lap, the bracelet slipping between his fingers. The insult stung, sharp and familiar, yet he refused to let it cut deeper than it deserved. The urge to snap back burned within him. Years of moments just like this, suspicion in a store, stares on the street, the sting of words thrown like stones, pressed at his chest. But his mother's words returned, steady and unshaken. Strength isn't in how loud you shout, but in how calmly you stand. He drew in a breath and exhaled slowly, keeping his gaze level. Silence became his shield. Karen's fury only grew at his composure. "Don't just sit there. I asked you a question," she snapped, her voice rising, carrying across the park. "People like you should learn to keep your hands to yourselves." A jogger slowed, glancing between them. A mother pulled her daughter closer, whispering something hurriedly. The air thickened with unease, as though the park itself had paused to witness the clash. David finally looked up, his eyes calm, steady, unflinching. The quiet dignity in his stare unsettled Karen more than any shouted reply could have. Max whimpered at her feet, tugging gently at the leash as if resisting the tension his owner created. Around them, time seemed to hold its breath. The weight of unspoken judgment, of prejudice laid bare, pressed down on everyone who watched, and David remained still. Engines rumbled at the edge of the park. Black SUVs glided to a slow stop near the entrance, their tinted windows catching the last glow of the sun. Doors opened in swift precision, and men in dark suits stepped out, scanning the surroundings with sharp, practiced eyes. Karen froze. Her tirade faltered mid-breath as she glanced toward the vehicles. Confusion flickered across her face when the men began walking straight toward the bench. Straight toward David. "Sir, your meeting is ready," one of them said firmly, bowing his head slightly in respect. Karen's mouth parted, but no words came. The leash slipped a little in her trembling grip as reality crashed down. Her eyes darted between David's calm expression and the authority radiating from the men who surrounded him. He rose slowly, adjusting his polo as if nothing in the world had shifted. but everything had. The man she had spat on with contempt was no ordinary passerby. He was Senator David Kareem, a leader whose name carried weight far beyond this park bench. Gasps rippled among the onlookers. Some pulled out their phones, whispering in disbelief. Karen's face drained of color, her arrogance cracking into dread. David glanced at her briefly, not with anger, but with something heavier. Pity. His silence cut deeper than any argument could. He turned and walked toward the waiting SUVs, leaving her standing small, humiliated, and exposed in the middle of the park, and the crowd would not forget. Karen stood frozen, her grip tightening on Max's leash until her knuckles turned white. Whispers spread through the park like fire, strangers exchanging looks, some shaking their heads, others staring at her with open disgust. The woman who had spoken so loudly now found herself drowning in silence, the weight of judgment pressing in from every side. David moved with calm authority, stepping into the SUV as though nothing had been disturbed, yet his silence spoke volumes. Dignity had answered where fury was expected. Strength had spoken without a single raised word. Karen's chest tightened. Shame burned hot across her skin. For the first time, her pride offered no shield, her arrogance no comfort. She was exposed, stripped bare before the very society she believed she stood above. The park slowly resumed its rhythm, children laughing again, conversations returning, but the memory lingered. The image of one man's quiet composure outlasting another's prejudice would not be forgotten. David looked out from the tinted window as the SUV pulled away, his fingers brushing once more against the bracelet on his wrist. His mother's words echoed again, a truth carved into him. Strength isn't in how loud you shout, but in how calmly you stand. The lesson was written in silence, but clear for anyone willing to see. What about you? If you were in David's place, sitting on that bench, facing those words, what would you have done? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Golden Stories.